Before we get started, let me just say, hello YouTube. I've wanted to make videos for a while now, but I never had the software to do so. Now I do, so here's my first video. It's on a subject that's been bothering me, and I just need to rant and get it out. CallistoHime, the special unique snowflake of DeviantArt and fanfiction. I had heard of your fanfictions for a while, however, no matter how good people said they were, I had no interest in reading them, mostly because I don't like the Link Zelda pairing at all. Well, some time went by, and I noticed some people in the Fire Emblem community getting pretty upset about these fanfictions. So, because I really love Fire Emblem, I thought I'd give it a chance to see what the fuss was about. And boy, I sure do regret it now. Before I even got into the bulk of the story, I read your artist comments on Chapter 1 of Time Cannot Erase. Quote, "First and foremost, I must say that I had never played Fire Emblem, I have never seen Fire Emblem, and I know nothing about Fire Emblem. Why then would I write this story?" End quote. Uh-oh, this won't end well, will it? Quote, "Let me explain." End quote. Yes, please do. Quote, "I got this idea from playing Super Smash Bros. Melee." End quote. Then why isn't it labeled a Smash Bros. Fanfiction? Quote, "So the only information about Marth I have is in his character profile on Super Smash Bros. It isn't much to go on, so I filled in the blanks on my own. Therefore, if you are a die-hard Fire Emblem fan, please just bear with me and know that this is purely of my own making and I know it. I know nothing about Marth, his personality, his backstory, or anything else. I'm not pretending to, so just come along for the ride and don't get mad as how I portray Marth. It won't do you any good." End quote. Again, I ask, why isn't this a Smash Brothers fanfiction? If you're going to go around calling your fanfiction a Legend of Zelda Fire Emblem crossover, then do it right. When I go looking for Fire Emblem fanfiction, you know what I expect to find? Fire Emblem fanfiction. Not your interpretation of Fire Emblem characters that was based off a game where they beat each other up. Quote, "My last advice is to just take the story for what it is. It came from my imagination, and I know and is what I made to be. Don't make too much of small discrepancies or problems you have with the plot. Just read and have fun." End quote. That's what original fanfiction, that's what original fiction is for. I don't think you understand that there is a difference between original and fanfiction, and characterization is indeed a valid critique when critiquing a fanfiction. Original fiction is completely from your imagination. You make up the plot, the characters, everything. You set your characters into a story and they grow in the story, going through trials and hardships to develop their characters. In other words, you build the characters around the story. Fanfiction, on the other hand, is a completely different beast. You're dealing with pre-existing characters that have already had their characters developed and have existing personalities and traits. You can make a story that could further expand their personalities if needed, or you can make a story that puts them on a completely new adventure, as long as one thing remains the same: characterization. The number one complaint of any fanfiction I ever see is characterization. All else takes a back seat to it. Yes, it is possible to write what would be a really interesting story that could be called the best fanfiction ever. However, if the characters were completely wrong, then a lot of people would hate it for just that reason. It's really hard to let go of your pre-existing ideals of what a character is supposed to behave and act like, especially if you actually played the game or have a good working knowledge of the character. It's not hard to research, it really isn't. Even if you haven't played either Marth or Roy's game, there are people who have. You just have to put a little effort out there and find them. Moving on, let's start with Marth, shall we? When Marth first makes his appearance in your story, it is said that, quote, "self-confidence radiated from him from almost to the point of cockiness." End quote. Wow. Hello, Super Smash Bros. Fire Emblem stereotype number 1. I've gotten pretty sick of this stereotype. Marth is not cocky, he is not arrogant, he is not all that strong or brave either. If you read any of the manga, which I assume you did and I'll get to that in a minute, then you should know this. Marth is kind, he cares about the people around him very much, and isn't confident in his abilities. He needs support from his friends sometimes to keep him going. Marth has also been described as immature and very trusting of others. You'd also see a good example of this in the manga. I don't know where the stereotype came from, really. Is it the way he holds himself in Smash Brothers? his stance that makes him look cocky? I'm not really sure, but Martha's a good guy, and someone I have respect for because of it. Also, Martha's not angst. Just thought I'd get that out there. Now, on to Roy. Now, I didn't get much of a feel for your Roy, since by the time he showed up I had already stopped reading. But from what I could tell, however, he fell prey to his Smash Brothers stereotype. He's stupid and a goofball. Oh boy. I could really go on about Roy's characters, but I think I'll sum it up like this. Roy is not stupid. If he was, he wouldn't be left in charge of the Lycia Alliance Army in Fire Emblem 6. Roy states that he is naive and has more to learn, but that does not make him stupid at all. He also has the same complex as every other Fire Emblem lord. He's serious and noble. He doesn't go around making stupid jokes at the drop of a hat. He doesn't need to. Now, on to the one I have the biggest beef with. Ellis. Oh, Ellis. My kind, sweet, gentle, caring Ellis. What did she do to you? Somehow you're younger than Marth, you're a tomboy with a brash attitude, and an archer? That's just too much. And what, pray tell, is your reason for chasing Ellis as much as you did CallistoHime? Quote, oh, and for those who don't know, Ellis is Marth from Fire Emblem's sister, though this is my own take on her instead of 7-foot, tall, large, boring, sad, dead Ellis from the manga. This one's better, trust me. End quote. I'm sorry, what? This line makes me rage like you wouldn't believe. In more ways than one, actually. Okay, so let me get this straight. You did read the Fire Emblem manga, saw Ellis, didn't like her, so you changed her to everything she's not? And you wonder why Fire Emblem fans get angry with you? The other reason this makes me rage is because of the implication that in order for a girl to be cool and interesting, she has to be as much of a tomboy as possible and be able to fight. Wow. Just wow. Since when is it a crime for a character to be kind and caring and a gentle person? Ellis is Marth's older sister, by the way. And how is Alice dead? Is it because she for some reason has really light colored hair in the manga? Because she's not dead, she's quite alive. Quote, I think Ellis is an awesome character, end quote. No, you don't. You think your Ellis isn't an awesome character. The last character I'll cover now is Navarre. You claim that this is just an original character with the name Navarre, and also get mad whenever Fire Emblem fans point out that your Navarre isn't like the Fire Emblem Navarre. No, let's stop and think for a moment, shall we? You make a character who's going to be in a Legend of Zelda Fire Emblem crossover that uses characters from Fire Emblem 1 and 3 and 6. Choose a name for this character off of a list of names from Fire Emblem 1 and 3 and expect people not to make the connection again. And you wonder why Fire Emblem fans are upset with you? It's not that hard to figure out. Now, in the next part, I'll move away from these characters finally and move on to your oh-so quote-unquote realistic story. Join me, won't you?